Stop! Those who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3. Ere the other side he see.
This isn't the bridge of death, it's just a bike path.
Did we just stumble into a Monty Python bit?
I think so. Okay, I think we're answering questions. Go ahead, Bridgekeeper.
What is your name?
Mike, Emily, Justin?
What is your quest?
We just want to shoot some host segments for our What If show.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
African or European?
I don't know that.
That was weird.
Tis a silly place.
A community-focused musician, barber, and soccer program founder. A program helping immigrant and refugee women start businesses.
What if?
This stretch of 27th Street is a great place to see Lincoln's diverse population. The city has long been a welcoming place to immigrants and refugees from all over the world. Now home to more than 30,000 people from 150 different countries. Many are entrepreneurs, and that's the theme of this episode of our series about innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship in Nebraska, What If? We start with the story of a guy who impacts the community with all the things he creates. What do these 3 things have in common? This guy, Hassan Khalil.
So make sure you're balancing.
How would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself as a really friendly guy that always wants to meet new people and listens to others and take advice from others and share my experience with others.
We'd describe him as a wide-ranging entrepreneur and creator with a resilient backstory that led to these different things.
Raise your hand if you're really enjoying these soccer camps.
Hassan created Lincoln International Football Club in 2020 to give underserved kids an opportunity to learn and play the sport he loves. The club puts on a summer-long free soccer camp. Most of the participants are from refugee and immigrant families.
Raise your hand if you speak more than 1 language.
Goal! 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 Goal!
It's more than soccer.
When we use soccer to bring everything together, the families and the kids, but to provide resources to these families and kids that they could benefit from beyond soccer, which will educational classes, health resources that we could bring to these neighborhoods, mentoring these kids to be successful in their lives.
Most of these kids, their parents aren't able to afford like soccer boot camps or summer camps. They're not able to do it.
Like James, who came here from the African country of Burundi less than a year ago.
I gave him these shoes, something that really touched my heart. He kissed the shoes. And I say, why'd you kiss the shoes?
Because it's my first shoe.
He says, my first soccer shoes ever.
Hassan understands these kids because he's also walked in their shoes.
I came from a refugee camps, 11 years in a refugee camps.
Hassan lived in a refugee camp when he was the same age as these kids. During Saddam Hussein's regime, Iraq was dangerous for the often persecuted Yazidi people. Hassan's family fled Iraq for neighboring Syria in the middle of the night.
We had some shoes on, just our clothes, no bags, absolutely nothing. Even our IDs and everything that we had, we throw those away. I could just feel the fear in my family's faces at that time. Even though it was a refugee camp, it was poverty, it was not much going on, it was like a family jail.
With no school and little else to do, Hassan developed a love for soccer in the camp. Creating the nonprofit Lincoln International Football Club was a way to continue that and help others a lot like young Hassan.
We're having fun, they're having fun. It's beautiful. We gain so much from here. I learned so much.
Hassan's barbershop is the entrepreneurial side that pays the bills. Cutting hair wasn't on his mind when an international aid organization helped 15-year-old Hassan and his family relocate from Syria to Buffalo, New York.
This was all for us taken in 1999, months before we moved to the United States. So these are our tickets, actually. Yeah.
On his third day in Buffalo, Hassan found something else new, a barbershop.
I'm like, wow, what's this? You know, like people cutting hair, beautiful cars outside, music is going, people are happy. Something just really attracted me. Like, I want to work in a place like this.
The owners let him clean the shop in exchange for haircuts. He learned barbering and cut friends' hair for free, struggled, quit, then was encouraged to come back by the owner and his mentor. Barbering became his profession after that. And when the family moved from Buffalo to be a part of Lincoln's large Yazidi community, Hassan brought skills and scissors with him. Is there something about barbering that kind of connects with your creative side?
I think so, to be honest. Just growing up in refugee camps, Mike, we were kind of isolated from social, you know, like being social with others, not talking to so many people, and I think barbering definitely gave me the platform to reach my potential, you know, of who I am, what I can do, and connecting with everyone.
Is there a little extra pressure with this haircut, knowing there's another person in the room that's evaluating what you're doing?
Not at all. I love it.
But you've got somebody watching that has a vested interest in how this turns out.
Yes, Emily. Yeah. Here's the back, here's the fade. What do you think?
Music is the third part of Hassan's world. It started listening to his dad singing and playing the saz, a traditional Yazidi string instrument, in the refugee camp.
Music was one of our, to get away from everything, to listen to our elder and to the musicians like my father and telling us stories, and is a way we could learn more about our history and our culture.
Hassan fell in love with keyboards. What he calls a hobby involves performing at lots of events, like Sursal, the Yazidi New Year's celebration.
Are you self-taught musically?
Yes. Yes, everything I play, I'm self-taught.
Wow. Are there certain sounds or certain things that are specific to Yazidi music?
Yes, it's a saz. It's actually one of the original instruments of Yazidis. So it comes in acoustic, and now we kind of have it even here in this keyboard.
Yeah. What's a saz sound like?
It sounds like Indian, right?
Right, yeah. Like one string at a time or with chords?
It's usually, this sounds usually for solo, one string at a time.
When did you start making your own music?
Even when I was little, I've always liked to make up words, my own words. I've always liked the stories. Every song needs to have like a story for me.
This song is called L'eau de l'Ojan, or Heart and Soul in English. It shares the personal memories and feelings from his life journey. The first verse is about arriving in the U.S.
In a new country, in a new place. It's like you're saying I'm deaf because you cannot speak the language, so you cannot understand. But you're somewhere, but you cannot understand or you cannot speak.
الولات غريبي العالم بزمان الولات غريبي العالم بزمان.
You're writing your biography in music.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, I think that's, for me, is the best way I can express, honestly, like, to talk about things that I've went through. For me, I'm like, someone might hear this story someday, you know, I could be gone, but someone could listen to this, and it could just help them.
The thread that connects all of the things Hassan the entrepreneur and creator does is community. Whether it's Yazidis, all refugees, or all of Lincoln.
Today is about the unity, it's about every other culture here that calls Lincoln home, that we can unite together and become as a big family.
Hassan is really critical to our whole community. He is a natural community organizer. One of the things that I really appreciate most about Hassan is his ability to build bridges in our community among diverse community members.
What can you learn from Hassan?
I think how to give to community. He always is there for everybody, and he's always ready to give to people.
Is Hassan somebody who's always wanted to try things and be creative?
She said Hassan always did adventurous stuff, like I was always worried about him when he was younger. He was never scared to do things. I think now I do think of myself as an entrepreneur because of all the areas and the impact I feel like I'm doing.
Running a barbershop, playing music, and running a youth soccer program isn't going to make you rich, right?
It's not going to make me rich, but it's honestly what I love. Yeah, I've had other opportunities to do other things, but for me personally, it's more of contributing, more of making an impact.
All right, everybody, say bye to the camera. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Earlier, we said this stretch of 27th Street was full of businesses launched by immigrant and refugee entrepreneurs. So let's meet a few, starting here at Amparitos Market. The Sarmiento family opened the store in 2023, 7 years after they came to Lincoln from Colombia with just the luggage they could carry. There's a little bit of everything here, products from lots of Central and South American countries. Aini Demasi opened Teru Restaurant in 2019 with her co-owner husband. Both came here from Ethiopia. She cooked in the family's popular restaurant there, even managing it as a high school student, before bringing those traditional recipes to her Lincoln restaurant. Miski Bakery has been around for almost 2 decades. Owner Lourdes Gonzalez opened the artisan Latino bakery not long after she moved to Lincoln from Bolivia, now leading a staff of Latino women from Central and South America. So many cool entrepreneurs. So let's meet some more. Our next story is about a nonprofit that helps refugee and immigrant women start their own businesses.
We are all here to celebrate something totally amazing.
It's graduation day for 5 women who have a couple things in common. Each wants to start a business, and each came from someplace far from Nebraska.
Graduation is fun because we get to see the last 4 months really come to life.
What happened during those 4 months is a program called The Refinery.
We have a few things to do to get to know each other better.
That's the thing that we don't have in common, so yeah.
It's day 1 for this new cohort of refinery entrepreneurs. They'll spend several hours a week together between now and December. So today is about women from Libya, Myanmar, Thailand, Iraq, and Sudan learning about each other.
In a business setting where you don't know anybody, that's what we're going to practice today.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mo. I'm Mary Beth.
The Refinery is an intensive business education course designed to help immigrant and refugee women launch or build on a business through workshops on finance, marketing, personal development, networking, and more. often led by guest speakers.
It's the thing that often brings you joy or brings others joy or both. How do you use that superpower in those businesses?
It's part of a nonprofit called Echo Collective, created by Kelly Ross.
We study business A to Z, and in addition to studying business, we also lead with a module that's all about personal development, because we've realized that in order for the women we work with to really thrive, it boils down to two things. Of course, they need the entrepreneurship education, but first they need to believe that they can do it. They can conquer this. Like sometimes we do like mother-daughter or mother-child programs.
Kelly launched Echo after working with immigrant and refugee women as a caseworker, English teacher, and program manager. The nonprofit offers entrepreneurship and creative programs.
I started Echo Collective so I could introduce amazing women to speak about what they're doing in the community. Yeah. So the whole time I'm just circling around these women that are new to the US, learning what it looks like to be an American. And that led me to Echo Collective because one day one of them asked me, "Friend, can you help me start a business?" And in that moment, I said, "Let's do it."
Another concept I want you to think about, again, because I'm trying to...
Now, about a dozen women go through the refinery, one of Echo's main programs, each year.
Smile. We work with women from any type of business. It's about 50% service, 50% product at the moment.
Gorgeous ladies. Thank you. The art of color pairing.
Branding and marketing are key for any business, and a wide range are represented here: baking, crocheting, trucking, cleaning, and interpretation.
We are going to do the vocabulary first. Have you ever heard the word criteria?
Darian is with the women 3 mornings a week, taking them through a curriculum Echo created.
So it focuses a lot on how community building is really important to starting a business and how having connections is really important to starting your business, but also it's taught and written in a way that is friendly to anybody from an intermediate level of English to, an advanced level of English. This is like you pare something down, so you like take away parts of it.
Echo's mission drew Darian to this role.
Just the women, the culture, teaching in some capacity, I was like, I want to do that. And so that's what called me. When we go on our field trip today, I want you to be thinking of 3 to 5 colors you want to use for your business.
Kay is going to demonstrate how you're going to do your acrylic pour today and just have fun with it. I'm really pleased with it. Happy.
Yeah, it was really fun. It brought out my creative side.
We need a mentor to help us develop. We may not know certain things in different areas in regards to our business because we just haven't had experience in it yet.
Discussion, then entrepreneurs will be paired with mentors who have expertise matching what they want to do.
So you want your own storefront within the next 3 to 5 years for your bakery. That's a great plan. And when you talk to your mentor, what are some benchmarks? What are some goals that I need to meet?
Ayat wants to grow a business that celebrates the place she was born, Sudan.
Those are called goreba.
Goreba?
Goreba.
Okay.
Yep. They're really soft. They're like very soft and like they look beautiful. And I don't know what size is that, I'm sorry.
We'll find out, won't we? You want it smaller now?
Yeah, smaller.
More like this?
Try to like get my size.
Lost it. You had said this is relaxing for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it still relaxing when you have to manage a TV host?
No.
Her bakery will sell different types of Sudanese cookies. Getting to this point hasn't been easy. Imagine being a non-English speaking teenager dropped into Nebraska. she faced many challenges.
In eyes, your face.
Ayat discovered she enjoyed working as a CNA. Now she's going to nursing school, working, and going through the ECHO program, and splitting time between Lincoln and Omaha.
Hi, Maribeth.
You've got so much energy and drive. Where did that come from?
I think my mom. She's a very shy person, but I think when you get to know her, she's like bubbly and stuff.
Ayat hopes to have her bakery business while working as an RN, and maybe open a Sudanese restaurant later. Inspired by being in the ECHO program with other women with similar dreams.
For me, it's different because I've never experienced it, but also like motivating because seeing these women that they want to like do their business too, and also it makes me happy because like I'm not the only one who's like working towards something. So, yeah.
How's my dimpling?
Can get better, for sure.
It can get better?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's
harsh.
your first.
I won't
Okay,
do
we can
anymore.
do this one.
Do you want to do that one?
Yep, you got it. Yay. High
All right.
five.
Success.
Success.
So this is like a full business plan and what it looks like and what you can expect when you start preparing your business plan. Mo, a long-term goal for you, like you said, you want to hire other interpreters. What additional threats might your business face?
A lot of places they try to replace interpreter with AI technology and ChatGPT, stuff like that.
What is special about Mo being a native Karen language speaker?
Authentic.
Authenticity.
Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Mo came here in 2009 from a refugee camp in Thailand. She learned English in high school and has been interpreting for several years, mainly in medical settings. Instead of working for others, she wants to launch her own business.
Seeking opportunity for the better life for our family, and then also helping community to bridge the gap, feel connected with other people so they don't feel isolated.
What do you think I should know about you?
Mila, tila, pele ne era tinya mo di da tinya bakadonan. My mom and my dad, you know, original from Burma.
What does Mo's work look like? Since her real interpretation mostly involves sensitive personal info, she invited a friend to help give us a demonstration.
So, do you know what that thing is called sometimes?
Like squirrel tail.
Oh, actually, that's really close. Emily, what's it called, Emily?
A dead cat.
Wait, the hair for the dead cat? Really?
No, it's not made from it.
Oh.
Oh, no. It's just called that.
People find that pretty funny. What's the hardest part about doing this interpretation?
The harder part is like when you don't know contents, you know, like knowing what's going on. And then also sometime with dialect, you know, different dialect in Korean culture, also it's harder part to understand that. Do you like to do like a yoga physical activity?
I like yoga.
Learning about building a business with other women has been inspiring.
Sometimes with, you know, people think that we can't do the thing that we want to do. So it's a lot of barrier in there. So it's important for us to like encourage one another and then be there for one another for women.
And we think Mo's pretty cool.
Yes, she is.
ECHO grew from an idea crafted in Kelly's dining room to celebrating its 5-year birthday and the women who've gone through its programs.
I'm so blessed to be around to many girls who are going into business, and we are here to help each other.
3, 2, 1, cheese!
How cool is it to see all these people together?
It's really cool because we have women from all over the world here.
Like refinery program graduates from Mexico and Iraq. All told, graduates from about 20 countries. Many sell their products in a store also run by these women. How does it make you feel about this thing you created to see all this?
Well, it makes me emotional to think about it because I never thought I could have done this 5 years ago. And the reason it's great is because the women that we work with are phenomenal. Who I am today is just an amalgamation of all the women that I've been with, because they push me every day to be the type of person that is worthy of mentoring them and coaching them.
To you, our graduates, please keep dreaming.
After 4 months, 5 new graduates of this unique program.
The refinery has taught me how to be brave and to be creative.
When I think about the future of my business, I feel a mix of excitement and nervous.
Other places are teaching entrepreneurship. Other places are focusing on women, but no one has what we have. And no one is seeing the success rates that we're seeing.
I have learned through determination and commitment, I can grow bigger and stronger.
I believe we're unique in the nation. I would really love to find someone else who's doing it just like we are, but I haven't yet.
Kelly hopes to eventually travel the nation to help others start similar programs. One reason? Building a community of entrepreneurs like this has value for a local economy. Echo believes its grads add more than $1 million to Lincoln's economy yearly.
And the fear of what if I fail is always there. But now I also feel confident and prepared because I understand my strength, my values, and the resources I have around me.
For these women, once strangers to Nebraska, they're gaining economic independence and more.
I learned that I have a dream that has purpose, and I have the strength and determination to make it happen.
That's all for this episode of What If. It's been so much fun showcasing amazing entrepreneurs like Aini, who came to Nebraska from other places and are making a difference. Want to check out all the cool stuff we've created? It's all on nebraskapublicmedia.org/whatif, our YouTube channel, or social media at #WhatIfNebraska. All right, see you later. We found lots of good food and other stuff for these stories, so time to eat.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, that's mine now.
Skills. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Pierce my skin. Kiss but a flesh wound. I got a lot of hair in my mouth.
It's a regular day at the office.
Just trying to make my family proud. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen? Come on!